What's going on, Port fans? Welcome back to another video on the channel, and today we're going to be previewing round 2, Port Adelaide versus Collingwood at the MCG this Saturday at 1:15. The Saturday Arvo time slot, the dreaded time slot of Saturday fixtures, but it's going to be an absolute belter of a game. I'm very much looking forward to attending this one live at the G. It's going to be a massive game for both clubs, coming off of massive wins. Collingwood defeating Geelong by 4 goals, and the Power getting the job done over Brisbane by 54 points. This is a game in more ways than one of the more important games of the season for Port Adelaide, and I'll get to that in a second. But my God, am I excited for this one. So let's get straight into it and preview round 2. So I mentioned that this game is pretty damn important. It's important for, obviously the 4 points. That's a given. It's important for the rivalry that's built off-field in this game because of, not so much because of the games. I mean, last year's game in round 21, I think it was, when Port Adelaide lost to the Pies by 6 points at the G, was a ripper game. But it's important because of those prison bars and what the rival off-field has created. Obviously, this is one of the games that's been promoted heavily by Port Adelaide as an away game due to the fact of the prison bar agreement to where in round 3, that round 2 is heavily promoted as an away game. But wanting to get so many supporters and a big attendance in general there. I know myself and Hutto will be there, which is going to be fantastic. Myself and JT as well, obviously from the glass table, and countless other Sanctum and other Port Adelaide fans are going to be there as well, which is going to be great. It's going to be a big atmosphere, and this could be one of the biggest Saturday Arvo games these two teams have played in terms of, I reckon, just in the significance of this rivalry and playing every single year. It has fizzed out at times, these games between Port and Collingwood. They haven't really lived up to expectation, or, we haven't really had a great, offering of your viewing a spectacle between these two teams. Obviously, last year was fantastic with a 1-goal win to Collingwood. The year before was the same game at the G, and Port Adelaide won by 1 point, which was just a dreadful game. And then before that, it's kind of been smashings to Collingwood or smashings to Port Adelaide. So it's built nicely, this rivalry, and I think this weekend's game is going to be absolutely massive, and real bragging rights are going to come out of it of whoever wins. The key questions for this game is it's so important for Port Adelaide to carry the momentum from round 1. I think the big question is, can Port Adelaide repeat that round 1 performance? And I don't know, it's kind of funny that you sit here now a couple of days after a Brisbane win. We're all up and about. It's been amazing to just see the change of mood around Port fans and the impressive nature around what Port Adelaide looked like. And the same thing for Collingwood is they came out, they proved to themselves and they proved to the media that they're no just one-trick pony from 2022. They've come out and beaten the reigning premiers quite convincingly. And they kind of counter each other. And when I say that, it normally means that one of the two teams can come off the back of such a big win. Obviously, Collingwood having an 8-day break and Port having a 1-week break. The day won't make much of a difference, but who rides that momentum? And everything points towards Collingwood riding it better than Port Adelaide. Port can always get quite complacent, as we've seen from personal experiences, us Port fans. But when Pies fans sort of look at it, you know that you can carry that momentum through. You know what your team can do to back it up the next week, and that's going to be the big task. Who can back it up after a big round 1 performance? And I think Collingwood are better settled in that aspect, because we're still sitting here as Port fans thinking, what the hell are Port Adelaide going to do this week? Like, it's just the strange feeling that's always around. It's always lingering for Port fans. So that is a big question. Can we match Collingwood's pace is probably another one that I want to question. I know we were quite convincingly well-drilled last week against Brisbane. Defensively, we were so sound. The movement of Houston, Burton, Farrell, Darcy Byrne-Jones, and even Tom Jonas, Aliir were looking sensational. The back six really held nicely, and defensively we were quite sound right across the board in terms of zones and pressure in our forward half. And defensively in the midfield we were exceptional because we didn't have to do much defensively because we had the ball all the time. Obviously, Trent McKenzie is missing from the back six this week. He has an aggravated ankle. I think he's sprained that one quite convincingly, so he'll be missing this week, which opens the door for selection. Obviously, Does Travis Boak return? That is a big question in itself. How fit he's going to be compared to. I think it's all about feeling. Obviously, with Boak, he has obviously fit legs, the fit body in general, and the fit running capacity. But whether or not he can continue to improve this week and get a chance to play, that is a big question. I personally, as much as it pains me, wouldn't risk it. But at the same time, you can only go how your own body feels. And if Travis Boak is 100% available, you're picking him. That's an obvious choice. And probably shuffles people a little bit around. We might be able to go a bit smaller in terms of height down back. Burton can play on a Meyer check or Degoe, but Jonas can take a Meyer check or a Cox. Same with Aliir with McStay. Or we have the capacity to move things around a little bit there. Obviously, Tom Cleary's an obvious choice to come in. Or does Jake Bassini get a run in his first game? It is a couple of questions. It's a headache. It's a headache question to answer for the selectors. And Jeremy Finlayson as well. Maybe does he come back in if he's fully fit and we rotate the players around a bit? Finlayson plays more of a defensive role across the wing. Bergman's obviously there. Can play quite defensively as well. So if we're structured up right, it's not going to really matter who plays on who. And that's probably one of the key things for Port Adelaide is if we can get the structure right again at the G, I think we match Collingwood and we probably do win. Probably the key thing for Port Adelaide to focus on this week is goal kicking. I don't think we'll get as many opportunities this week. The Pies are a little bit more sound, as you can tell from their performance last week. They're really well drilled across the middle and across their back six. Jeremy Howe's obviously missing with such a big injury, which is quite gross. I think he might be a massive out in terms of how Port Adelaide play, because Dixon, Georgiadis, and Marshall, who's probably one of the best key forwards in the comp at the moment, is really well drilled, and I think it's gonna be a different aspect for Collingwood than their standard Cameron Hawkins, who they took on last week. So a little bit more dynamic. Junior Rowley as well, Horatio Fantasia, Sam Powell-Pepper. It's an interesting matchup, isn't it? Just thinking about it, rolling through and thinking about it. It's going to be one of those games that you just feel like it rides a lot more than just 4 points. And I mentioned the rivalry between the two fan bases. This is going to be hell for leather. There's going to be 55,000, 60,000 people at this game. It's going to be monstrous. It's going to mean so much to the team that is 2-0. Because for Port Adelaide's sake, I won't look at Collingwood. That's probably someone like Swoop Luke can look at that in terms of what 2-0 means for the Pies. But you look at 2-0 for Port Adelaide, it completely takes away from the 0-5 last year. We go into the showdown with such momentum and wearing the prison bars in round 3. All that leads to hopefully being 3-0, and it opens the door up for Port Adelaide. Like this game, getting 4 points in terms of our season and our fixture, it opens everything wide open. There's going to be ebbs and flows in this season, no doubt about that. It always happens to every single team. I just feel like a 2-0 start for Port Adelaide against two very, very good teams is massive for confidence, massive for our season, and just massive for us fans and bragging rights. So let us know, Port fans, your comments below, your thoughts on the game this week. I know it's an early preview this week. I'm going to be there to be supporting the boys. So expect a vlog, expect some good content to come your way, and just really, let's enjoy this moment. We're 1-0 up. We're going into round 2. It's a massive game at the G. Massive experience for Port Adelaide at the G, and I'm looking forward to hopefully ticking off the Pies. Thank you very much for watching, Port fans. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new, for plenty more Port Adelaide and AFL content to come your way. The episode 3 of The Glass Table came out just recently, so make sure you're checking that one out and listening to JT and I ramble on about a round 1 recap. That was truly something else. And subscribe to the channel because we're almost at 5,000 subscribers. Thank you for watching. Thank you very much for your support. My name's Anthony, and as always, can't pair.